right, welcome in everyone to your weekly tarot reading. So we are doing tapping into the week starting November 25th through Sunday, the 1st of December. So we are last week in November, closing out November. In the US, we have Thanksgiving coming up this week on Thursday, so we got a holiday week. And if you guys know of the craziness of Black Friday, that's happening. I think some other countries have incorporated Black Friday into the mix. Probably a way for companies and retailers to make some money, but we're starting off, it's kind of like kicking off the holiday season, Thanksgiving, and then we go into December. So, what do we got going on here? A couple astrological things this week. So, the biggest one on the 25th, which is tomorrow, Monday. I'm doing this reading on Sunday. So, the 25th, Mercury goes into retrograde in Sagittarius. So, we've been talking a little bit about Mercury going retrograde, and that's coming up. There was kind of the shadow period, which means like it starts to slowly impact us leading up to it fully going into retrograde, and then once it comes out of retrograde, there's a little shadow period. When Mercury does move through Sagittarius, it's considered in its detriment, because Sagittarius and Mercury are kind of conflicting energies there. So you'll have to work a little harder at things to get things moving, to get things going, or just to get things accomplished. Something too, you may have kind of this theme of you may have to lose yourself before you can find yourself, right? So there might be a little bit of confusion, things you're questioning about yourself or your life. But this, the quintessential Mercury retrograde is expect delays in things, expect mental oversights, communication impairments is obviously big. There's usually it's like when you're trying to communicate, that Mercury retrograde kind of distorts messages. So there can be a lot of misunderstandings or communication errors. And then a big also impact is technology. So watch technology issues. And then the last kind of thing, astrological movement this week is November 30th, which is the new moon in Sagittarius. And that new moon in Sag kind of straddles the 30th and the 1st of December. It kind of like is in that kind of movement. Technically, I think it does happen on the 1st, but because it's Sagittarius, it's a very motivational moon. You'll feel inspiration to take action, to create, and kind of also look at higher goals and dreams. Sagittarius is a very fun energy, so it's kind of, maybe getting us out of our shell, our home, maybe wanting to socialize, but there's kind of that aspect when it comes to connections. It's more about the social aspect. So those are the two big things. So let's dive in and see what's happening this week. Probably seeing how this Mercury retrograde is hitting us. So we'll get some foundational energy with the energy oracle cards. For all of you out there, if you're interested in a private reading, I'm still doing those, so you can take a look at my website and schedule something there, and the link is below in the description. Also, you know, if my link to my Etsy shop is there and Instagram. So go around and follow all my stuff. Take a look. If you find some good, I make handmade gemstone jewelry out there, and those are all Reiki'd to be cleansed and activate, so the stones are activated to its fullest like potential and cleared of any, you know, energy that's not in its highest good or function. So I Reiki those, and then also those are put out in the full moon to kind of energize those as well. All right, here we go. Last week in November, ooh, storm warning. Ew. That could be that Mercury retrograde walking away. And the thinking man. So I guess the message is pretty clear here. There could be, you know, again, a warning of a storm impending coming up. That could be some sort of conflict going on. This could also refer to like emotional turmoil that kind of builds up. Maybe you've been holding in feelings or emotions about a situation or relationship. And it's almost like, I feel like that in the picture here, that could be a tornado, that could be a cyclone, that could be a hurricane, but it's like, it almost has to come to clear the air and clear out all that stuff that's been kind of pushed down. So the walking away card could actually literally mean that you decide from that situation to walk away from it, to leave something behind, to make a big change, that something's really not working for you anymore. It could also refer to, you know, leaving behind, again, this emotional turmoil. And maybe you've had emotional turmoil for a while because you just haven't been able to communicate or release it. And it's a little unnerving that this potentially could all blow up within Mercury retrograde, because that's kind of the worst time to try and have a serious conversation with someone or really express your feelings, because again, there's a lot of potential for it to be misunderstood or for it to go awry. So that could potentially also be why the storm happens. With the thinking man, I actually want to read that one to you guys. So the thinking man, and Jupiter's joined the reading. So we see the storm, but Jupiter's presence kind of means that there's luck. Jupiter's adding some luck to this situation, so maybe it could lighten the impact of the storm. But the thinking man is the male of wisdom or understanding. So this card shows a man standing before an archway, gazing at a crystal in his hand. He is thoughtful and reflective, representing the potential presence of a teacher in your life who's in it now or about to arrive. This person may be there to educate you in the finer details of your chosen direction, or maybe there to assist you in some specific spiritual, mental, or emotional pursuits. This card is telling you to pay attention, for this could lead to great strides in personal or professional growth. This may also be a love interest coming your way, or perhaps just a new male friend. But be on the lookout for this guide in this physical world and be open to his information. Learn what you can. A new discipline, technique, course of study, or healing practice could change your life forever. So I do feel like this is representing somebody. I don't think it's the person that's like in this situation with you, but I do feel like potentially there's a teacher or support person that's going to help you work through this, or, you know, that could be a therapist or some sort of whatever kind of practice or method that you're looking to help you work through this, and maybe again this emotional turmoil. So that could be a situation. And like the card said, if maybe it's, you know, on the other side of a situation you walk away from, that there's somebody there that could be a love interest or a new friend that's also kind of helping you to heal from this or to move on. So let's keep going here. Let's get some tarot. And I have, the whole deck was backwards, so I'm going to look at that, the Fool. Yeah, you are definitely leaving behind a path that you were on. You're walking away. 2 in this card, you see she's walking out of the gate, and it's almost like the gate's closing. So I feel like you're definitely starting down a new direction in your life with the Fool. You could just be taking a leap of faith and just something happens that you just really pushes you to make a new change, to move down a new direction or away from something. 2 of Swords. Whatever this is, I do feel like you've been blocked for a long time in regards to this. Like there could be no communication. Like you're really holding things in. You maybe really have internalized these emotions or feelings and kind of been like trying to work through them yourself on, hey, what is all this stuff? Trying to interpret, analyze it. And in the back, you see here, there's like a guide signpost and there's like 2 directions. So I think you're trying to figure out what to do, where to go. What direction do you take in regards to this situation? 9 of Cups, because you want to go, like, what's your highest path here? I feel with the 9 of Cups, like, what's your best and highest outcome? And I know that's what you ultimately want. I do feel a little bit you finally got to a point where maybe the situation, like you've been in it for a long time and you really wanted it to continue and work out. But like, I think you're at a point where you're okay with whatever outcome, because something's been really frustrating. Like I said, this could be resentment or anger that you've been holding in about a situation. And you're finally at a point where you're just like, hey, I want to feel better. I want something, like, this isn't really what I want, like the current state of the situation, and it hasn't been. And so you want to go towards what you really want. But I think you haven't, you know, again, in the 2 of Swords, she's blindfolded. So she's a little blind to what that is. So maybe for a time you didn't really know what you wanted. But I do feel like now that's starting to really become clear for you. Yeah, the High Priestess. It's like you finally get that wisdom from your higher self, and your intuition is telling you and guiding you. It's like your intuition is guiding you out of this, even though you feel like you don't necessarily externally know the direction, but it's almost like you're going to be guided not by the external world or your mind, but this is about your intuition, the High Priestess. So there's that guidance too, is listen to your intuition. I do feel like your intuition has been really trying to talk to you for a long time, and you just like didn't want to hear it. You weren't ready. But 8 of Wands, so finally things really start moving forward for you. This is like fast movement. So you have the Fool and the walking away and the 8 of Wands. Like I feel like you start on a new path and this goes quickly. You could be moving, or this could also refer to travel, but something in regards to movement. So that's the underneath message here. So if we think of, so I kind of read that as if I was speaking to you guys as individuals, but as a collective, I really do feel like collectively we are at a portal, portal where it's like a new path is beginning. There's a lot of new beginnings for people, and I do feel like a lot of people are not knowing what this new beginning is or what's going to happen. Like, is this going to be a good thing? Is it going to be a bad thing? We can't tell yet, right? And people could be really stuck in their head about this. Like, this to me feels like we don't know how we feel. But ultimately, I feel like what's happening in the external world collectively is ultimately to move us towards something that's better and something that we really want, and to bring us more in alignment from a consciousness perspective, awakening a lot of people. And that's going to help move things forward. I do feel like we've been in a situation again, when we think of governments and world stages and just a collective, we have been really blocked. Those of you watching my channel, obviously, I say if you're watching, then you have a higher level of awareness and consciousness, maybe than most people. But when we think of the world and humanity, we still have a lot more people who are closed off to their intuition and to their higher consciousness. But that's going to start shifting. But this is what's kind of unfolding. So to me, this is what's really the foundation of the week. So I do feel like this is really going to happen this week. We got the Page of Pentacles. I think you're finally seeing the lesson. This week, you're either seeing the lesson of the situation and you're finally walking away, or like there's something of value here that you're not picking up on yet, but you're going to see the value in why you had to go through this week. Temperance and the Queen of Swords. Definitely getting really clear this week. A lot of clarity. This could be a lot of downloads with the High Priestess and the Queen of Swords. Like you're getting downloads from your higher self, which is then kind of coming through mentally, and you're just like, oh, I am super clear. I know which way I'm going. And that's the walking away, because you finally know what path, right, you're going down. And I think it's a new path. It's a path that you aren't currently on. Definitely what I'm picking up on is you're not going to be doing the same thing that you have been, or on the same path, or in the same situation. There's definitely a shift here. In this deck, the Temperance card, you see Alice is kind of contemplating between the two pieces of mushroom, and like she's gonna choose one and kind of go with, but she's really looking to her intuition, and almost like the caterpillar here is the higher wisdom giving her the guidance on what to do, and like what is in her highest best interest. And for the situation she's in, what piece of the mushroom is going to get her the impact that's ultimately going to help her in that next kind of in the next path here. Yeah, 10 of Cups. It's almost like you're closing out a tumultuous, challenging time. And it's a karmic, it's karmic here, because you finally learned the lesson. And that's when you can, the 10 of Cups comes in. 6 of Swords. Yeah, moving forward. It's like, okay, I want to move into a easier, like you're focused on ease and peace, and like where I'm at a place where I don't have to do all the work, that I have someone who's willing to jump in and support and help me, and also like just an overall better place. Like there's something about like the trend lately in readings has been like people are just finally fed up with being in challenging situations, not feeling good, not feeling at peace, and like just almost again that you've tolerated it, you've put up with things, and people are kind of like finally looking at their life like, how do I create more ease? How do I create more peace? How do I stop like getting out of, it could be situations or people or relationships, but it can also be about like the concept of, especially in the US, this glorification of being busy, which like creates a lot of turmoil mentally and emotionally, because we're just always busy, we're stressed out. And it's finally like, no, what's going to be in my best interest moving forward, where I'm less stressed and I have more ease and peace. Yep, there's the Tower, just like the storm. Okay, so we have the warning of the storm with the Oracle, and then the Tower is like the storm hitting. I'm going to get Five of Wands. So I do feel like this does come in, and with the Five of Wands, to me, that's like almost like an argument or a fight that comes up. There's a situation, and there's definitely people involved in this. So if this is a relationship, or it could be at work, but just there is something that just kind of blows up. There's a fight or conflict, or people who are just definitely in disagreement about something, and it does create this Tower moment, which turns into a storm. And I definitely feel like you kind of channel this. You finally are just like, nope, I'm putting my foot down. I'm setting my boundaries here. You're like approaching this really firmly, and you're just like, no. And it could be that when you set your boundaries in a situation, other people respond negatively. And that's a sign, right? It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have set your boundaries, or that, because a lot of people set boundaries, and then when people get upset about your boundaries, then a lot of people tend to then question, like, oh, did I make the wrong decision? Is it my fault? And the answer is no. You did the right thing. And you had to do this to kind of, again, move yourself into a better situation, because you've been really in something that you've kind of just been putting up with, I feel, in general. And when we think as a collective, we've put up with a lot of shit, excuse my language, for a long time, and just accepted it because either it's just the way it's always been, or like, what is the consequences of me having to try and stand up to change things? Some people, not to kind of put anyone down, but can be lazy. It's like, okay, what is the effort I have to try and put in to resist or try and change something? So most people just want to continue on with their day-to-day lives. They don't want to be troubled or more stressed, because they already got a lot of stuff to focus on. But something really is blowing up this week. So I wouldn't be surprised if this happens in people's individual lives, but we'll have to see what happens from a global standpoint or a collective. Something could really happen this week that kind of blows the lid off something. And a lot of people have a lot of differing opinions about it. And it's going to create a big storm. So this will be interesting. But here's the deal. Okay, and I here trying to not to be, toxic positivity, but there's a reason this is happening. So towers always have a reason, and we usually don't like towers, and we don't like surprises in that way. But this it's creating a new opportunity in Ace of Pentacles, which is really in line with this Fool card. It's creating a new path that's easier, that's more in alignment with you, that just feels better. And also with people that are in more alignment with who you are, your values, and things like that, Ten of Pentacles. So it's like it's opening up a new path that's going to be better for you, even though you don't see that. But the Tower is really happening this week coming up. So just be prepared for that. Also, we got a lot of people traveling this week in the US for the holidays. So just be cognizant, be aware. There's going to be a lot of people stressed and got a lot going on. So that could also be, a breeding ground for potential reactivity. And then you have the Mercury retrograde on top of it. And then you just got, a potential storm brewing. So that's kind of funny. That all kind of just you got all of the pieces of the puzzle this week that is really forewarning of a storm impending, right? Just like we can kind of forecast the weather based on all these factors. And I think it's the same kind of concept for the week. It's like there's an impending storm when you got all of these different factors at play. So just be aware of yourself, right? You can't control other people and how they respond or react, but you can respond instead of react. Okay. But just the guidance, right, is be clear. When you communicate, be really clear. Again, really set your boundaries and tell yourself, like, don't let people sway you into, again, disrespecting yourself or putting yourself back in a situation where you're just tolerating things. It's time for you to shift all that. And that's the opportunity this week. So there was a lot there. But if you liked the video, if it resonated, hit that like button and join the Lyran Soul Tribe by subscribing. And have a good, amazing week. Have a good Thanksgiving holiday if you're in the States. And I'll see you in the next week's reading.